Beneath the tall palm trees of Umudike village, everyone knew Pa Kunle Adebayo. Before the first cockcrow, while mist still clung to the earth, he was already climbing palm trunks with a rope tied around his waist and a tapping knife tucked into his wrapper. From the top of each tree, he would hum old Yoruba folk tunes as the sweet sap dripped steadily into his gourds. Palm wine was good business, and Pa Kunle was good at business. By noon, he had customers waiting. By evening, his wooden shed near the village square was full of laughter, arguments, and the sharp scent of fermented palm wine. Men gathered around him like moths to a flame. He told stories loudly, slapped backs, and counted money with satisfaction. Some nights, he counted 500,000 naira. Some nights, close to 1 million. People admired him. That man is blessed, they would say. Money flows in his hands. But inside his own house, poverty lived quietly. His wife, Maronkeji Adebayo, carried the true weight of the family. She was heavily pregnant with their third child, and the pregnancy sat low and heavy in her belly. Her feet swelled, her back ached. Sometimes dizziness blurred her vision before noon. Still, she woke before sunrise. She swept the compound, fetched water from the stream, cooked thin pap and divided it carefully, washed clothes with hands that trembled from exhaustion. Their first daughter, Tossin, was 10 years old. She was calm and thoughtful, with eyes that noticed everything. She noticed how her mother pressed her palm against her lower back when she thought no one was looking. She noticed how her father avoided staying home too long. The second daughter, Bimpe, was 6, lively, talkative, and deeply attached to Tossin. Wherever Tossin went, Bimpe followed. If Tossin cried, Bimpe cried harder. One morning, Tossin looked at her mother while eating a small portion of pap. "Mama?" asked gently. "When will you pay our school fees? Teacher said they won't allow us to write exams." Maron Keji forced a small smile. "Soon, my child. Be patient with me." What she did not say was that she had been saving every coin she could for hospital bills. The nurse in the nearby clinic had warned her. "This pregnancy is risky," the nurse had said. "If labor comes suddenly, you will need money immediately." That afternoon, Tossin and Bimpe returned from school earlier than usual. Their faces were unusually quiet. "They sent us home," Bimpe whispered. "School fees," Tossin added. Marun Keji sat slowly on a wooden stool. She had feared this day. "Go to your father's shop," she said after a long silence. "He will give you the money." Hope brightened their faces. At Pa Kunle's shed, he was counting thick bundles of cash on a wooden table. When he saw his daughters approaching, his expression hardened. Quickly, he stuffed the money into a sack beside him. "Papa!" Bimpe called cheerfully. "What are you doing here?" he asked sharply. "School sent us home," Tossin said softly. "Mama said we should—" "I said go home," he snapped. "Meet your mother." The girls fell silent. Tossin's eyes drifted briefly to the sack beside him. She saw the shape of money inside, but she said nothing. She simply held Bimpe's hand and turned away. On their way home, Bimpe frowned. "Why didn't Papa help us?" Tossin swallowed. "Let's just go home." When they reached the compound, something felt wrong. Too quiet. "Mama?" Tossin called. No answer. Inside the small room, Marun Keji lay on the floor. Her wrapper was soaked. A basket of roasted corn lay overturned beside her. The smell of boiled corn still lingered in the air. "Mama!" Bimpe screamed. Tossin touched her mother's hand. Cold. Neighbors rushed in at the sound of their cries. An elderly woman knelt and examined Marun Keji carefully. She placed a trembling hand on her swollen belly and then shook her head. "She is gone." The world seemed to tilt. Later, they learned what happened. Marunkeji had gone to the market early to sell roasted corn, hoping to raise money for hospital bills. Her water broke suddenly. She tried to return home, hoping her husband would be there. He wasn't. There was no transport, no neighbor nearby, no money within reach. She struggled alone. She died alone. When Pa Kunle was informed, he came home and stood at the doorway. "She's dead?" he asked flatly. "Yes," an elder replied. He rubbed his face. This life is hard." That night, neighbors stayed with the girls, but the next morning, Pa Kunle picked up his tapping tools and left. Life continued. For him, but not for Tossin and Bimpe. After the burial, hunger became their daily companion. Their father did not change. Every morning he tapped palm wine. Every evening he drank. Every night when the house was quiet, he counted money. Meanwhile, the girls went to bed hungry. One afternoon, hunger burned too deeply. "I'm hungry," whispered Bimpe weakly. Tossin searched the kitchen. Nothing. Then she noticed a wooden box under their father's bed. Inside were bundles of money. Bimpe burst into tears. "Why would Papa let us starve?" Tossin's throat tightened. "We won't touch it." They closed the box carefully. Instead, they walked to their teacher's house. Auntie Ifunayana Okoye was known for her kindness. She lived alone in a small one-room apartment. Her salary was small, often delayed. When she saw the girls, she immediately knew something was wrong. "You look thinner," she said gently. "What is happening?" They told her everything. "You found money and still didn't take it?" she asked, shocked. Tossin shook her head. Ifunayana pulled them into her arms. "You are stronger than many adults." When they begged to stay with her, her heart ached. "You can stay," she said finally. Life was not easy in her home either. Food finished quickly, water bills increased, neighbors whispered. "That father is wicked. Why is she carrying another person's burden?" But Ifraniata had made up her mind. After weeks of watching the girls struggle, she decided something had to change. She knew Pa Kunle's weakness, pride and attention, so she began passing by his shed after school. "Good evening, sir," she would say with a bright smile. He straightened immediately. "Good evening, Madam Teacher." Soon, greetings became conversations. "You run your business well," she would say. He beamed. "Of course, I am the best tapper in this village." He began giving her money. "For transport. For provisions. Just take it." Months passed. One evening, he cleared his throat nervously. "I want to marry you." Ifunayana looked at him calmly. "There is something you must know first." "What is it? I will do anything." "I'm the teacher caring for your daughters." His smile faded. "They cried in my house. They starved while you counted money. If you want to marry me, you must take full responsibility for them." He hesitated, but he was already attached. "I agree," he said finally. After their quiet wedding, something unexpected happened. Pa Kunlai changed. He began coming home early. He reduced his drinking. He brought food without being asked. When Tossin fell sick, he carried her to the clinic himself. When Bimpe needed new sandals, he bought them. Villagers were stunned. "That woman must have used charm," they whispered. But inside the house, peace slowly grew. Years passed. Tossin became graceful and wise. Bimpe became confident and outspoken. Ifunayana loved them deeply, yet she never conceived a child of her own. Whispers returned. Maybe she cannot give birth. She smiled publicly, but privately she sometimes cried. Then, one market day, the town crier announced, "The prince of Akinlolu Kingdom will choose a wife from this village." Excitement spread like wildfire. At 20, Tossin and Bimpe were admired across Umiduke. Bimpe laughed excitedly. Imagine Princess Tossin! Tossin blushed. Don't tease me. But jealousy crept quietly into Ifunayana's heart. If Tossin becomes a princess, she will leave. After all I did, will I end up alone? Fear turned to bitterness. She began whispering small doubts to each sister. You must not always let Tossin shine, she told Bimpe one evening. To Tossin, she said, be careful. Not everyone wants your success. Confusion grew. On the day of the contest, drums filled the air. Young women danced in colorful attire. Elders sat proudly at the front. Just before Tossin's turn, Bimpe stepped forward unexpectedly. Gasps filled the crowd. Instead of competing, she knelt before Ifunayana. I want to speak, she said loudly. The crowd fell silent. You raised us. You saved us. You are our mother. Why did you start pushing us apart? Tossin stepped forward and knelt too. We will never leave you. Even if I become a princess, you will always be our mother. Ifunayana's chest tightened. Tears streamed down her face. I was afraid of being alone. The sisters hugged her tightly. The drums resumed softly. When Tossin danced, her movements carried her story. Pain, survival, grace. The prince stood. I choose you, he declared. The crowd erupted in joy. Bimpe hugged her sister. Ifunayana smiled through tears. Peace returned to their family, and Umiduke learned a lesson. Love is not in loud promises. It is an effort.